Imagine a ship so colossal that if you stood it upright, it would tower over the Empire State Building. A ship that took 5.5 miles just to stop, needed a 2-mile turning circle, and was too enormous to fit through the Suez Canal, the Panama Canal, or even the English Channel. It was sunk by Saddam Hussein's bombers, declared a total wreck, and then raised from the dead and sailed again. And that is only number 1 on this list. Let us begin. Number 10, Valemax Ora carriers. We are kicking things off not with a container ship, but with the largest bulk carriers ever constructed. The Valemax fleet is a series of very large ore carriers owned or chartered by the Brazilian mining giant Vale SA, and they are purpose-built for one job: hauling iron ore from Brazil to ports in Europe and Asia across thousands of miles of open ocean. The first Valemax vessel, the Ore Brazil, formerly known as Vale Brazil, was delivered in March 2011 by Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering in South Korea. Each Valemax ship measures 362 meters in length and 65 meters in width, with a deadweight tonnage capacity ranging from 380,000 to 400,000 tons. To put that in perspective, a single Valemax vessel can carry enough iron ore to fill roughly 2,700 rail cars. The fleet has grown dramatically over the years. The original order included 35 ships built by Chinese and South Korean yards. In 2015 and 2016, Chinese shipping companies ordered 30 more, with deliveries running from 2018 to 2020. 3 additional vessels were ordered by a Japanese company, bringing the total Valemax fleet to 68 ships as of 2020. The original contract with Jiangsu Rongsheng Heavy Industries alone, covering 12 vessels, was worth $1.6 billion, making it the biggest single shipbuilding contract by deadweight tonnage in history at the time. The Valemax ships had a rocky start in China. Despite many of them being physically built in Chinese shipyards, the Chinese government initially banned ships over 300,000 deadweight tons from entering Chinese ports, effectively blocking the very vessels that were meant to deliver iron ore to Chinese steel mills. The ships were eventually slimmed down on paper to 380,000 tons, even though nothing in the actual design changed. They simply were not loaded to maximum capacity on China-bound voyages. These ships are engineering marvels designed for fuel efficiency, with advanced hull designs that reduce resistance during movement. They remain the largest bulk carriers ever built by deadweight tonnage or length. Number 9, CMA CGM Jacques Saadé. Now we move to a ship that changed the rules of the game entirely. The CMA CGM Jacques Saadé is the world's first ultra-large container vessel powered by liquefied natural gas, commonly known as LNG. When it was delivered in September 2020, it was the largest LNG-powered vessel ever built, and it remains a landmark achievement in green maritime engineering. Named after the visionary entrepreneur who founded the CMA CGM Group, this French-flagged giant was built at the CSSC Hudong Zhonghua shipyard in Shanghai, China. It measures 400 meters long with an overall beam of 61 meters and stands 78 meters tall from keel to the top of its superstructure. It has a capacity of 23,000 TEU and a deadweight tonnage of 220,000 tons. Here is the truly mind-blowing part. This ship carries 18,600 cubic meters of LNG fuel stored at a temperature of -161 degrees Celsius. That fuel tank alone is enormous. And with that fuel capacity, the CMA CGM Jacques Saadé can complete an entire round trip between Asia and Northern Europe, a journey covering over 23,000 nautical miles without refueling. Compared to conventional marine fuel oil, LNG propulsion reduces sulfur oxide emissions by 99%, fine particle emissions by 91%, and nitrogen oxide emissions by 92%. The ship is part of a class of 9 sister vessels, all built to the same specifications, and the total contract with CSSC was worth an estimated $1.2 billion. The CMA CGM Jacques Saadé entered commercial operation on September 23, 2020 on the French Asia Line route. It is registered at the French International Register with a home port of Marseille, where the CMA CGM Group's head office has been based for over 40 years. In every sense, this ship represents the future of sustainable mega shipping. The ship is also equipped with a range of cutting-edge technologies beyond its LNG propulsion. These include Wärtsilä's fuel gas supply system, an integrated automation control system, and dual-fuel auxiliary engines. The fuel gas supply system utilizes real-time data monitoring to ensure the system operates at optimal efficiency in all weather and sea conditions. When the CMA CGM Jacques Saadé was delivered, the total contract for all 9 ships in the class was worth an estimated $1.2 billion, making it one of the most expensive shipbuilding contracts in French maritime history. Number 8. HMM Algeciras. When the HMM Algeciras was revealed on April 23, 2020, it held the title of the largest container vessel on Earth. The ceremony took place at Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering's Okpo shipyard in Gyeonggi, South Korea, and the First Lady of South Korea herself served as godmother, cutting the ropes and officially naming the ship. The HMM Algeciras measures 399.9 meters long and 61 meters wide, with a depth of 33.2 meters. It has a capacity of 23,964 TEU and sails under the Panama flag. Here is a fun irony. Despite being registered in Panama, the ship is too wide to transit the Panama Canal. The HMM Algeciras is the first of 12 24,000 TEU class vessels ordered by the South Korean shipping line HMM. The total order of 20 ultra-large vessels was split among 3 shipyards: Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering, Hyundai Heavy Industries, and Samsung Heavy Industries. These ships are considered among the most technologically advanced container vessels ever built. The ship features a scrubber system for environmental compliance and a smart hull designed to reduce fuel consumption and emissions. It operates on the Asia to Northern Europe trade lane, connecting major ports including Qingdao, Busan, Ningbo, Shanghai, Rotterdam, Hamburg, Antwerp, and London Gateway. When it was launched, the HMM Algeciras briefly held the world record. But in the fast-moving arms race of mega container ships, that record would not last very long. Within just over a year, the Ever Ace from Evergreen Marine would claim the throne, only to be surpassed itself shortly after. This constant leapfrogging among the world's biggest shipping lines shows just how intense the competition has become in the ultra-large container ship segment. For HMM, the Algeciras class represented a turning point. The company had long lagged behind larger competitors like MSC, Maersk, and CMA CGM. By investing in 20 ultra-large vessels in a single order, HMM signaled its intention to compete at the highest level of global container shipping. Number 7. Ever Ace. In July 2021, a new champion was crowned. The Ever Ace, operated by Taiwanese shipping giant Evergreen Marine, sailed out on its maiden voyage and immediately seized the title of the world's largest container ship. It held that title until even bigger vessels were launched the following year. Built by Samsung Heavy Industries in South Korea, the Ever Ace measures 400 meters long and has a massive breadth of 61.5 meters, making it slightly wider than the HMM Algeciras. Its capacity is 23,992 TEU, and it has a gross tonnage of 235,579 tons. The ship sails under the Panamanian flag and is powered by a 2-stroke Wärtsilä main engine with 11 cylinders, delivering 70,950 kilowatts of power and pushing the ship to a cruising speed of 22.6 knots, which is approximately 26 miles per hour. The Ever Ace features 24 rows of containers placed side by side across its deck. Its design allows for greater container stacking density while maintaining stability even in rough seas. The ship was the first of 12 planned vessels of this capacity for Evergreen Marine. If the name Evergreen sounds familiar, it should. This is the same company that operated the Ever Given, the infamous container ship that got lodged sideways in the Suez Canal in March 2021, blocking one of the world's most critical shipping lanes for 6 days and causing billions of dollars in trade delays. The Ever Ace has over 3,000 TEU more capacity than the Ever Given, giving you some sense of how rapidly these ships are growing. Evergreen has announced a massive fleet expansion project involving 70 new freight vessels of various sizes, with a combined capacity of approximately 688,000 TEU. The Ever Ace was the opening act for this enormous investment. The vessel operates primarily on the Asia to Europe trade lanes, passing through the same Suez Canal that its infamous sister ship once blocked. Every time it transits that canal, one can only imagine the extra attention it receives from traffic controllers. Number 6. Ever Alot. Just 1 year after the Ever Ace made headlines, its own sister ship stole the crown. The Ever Alot, also operated by Evergreen Marine, was delivered in 2022 and surpassed the Ever Ace to become the new largest vessel in the Evergreen A-class fleet. Built by Hudong Zhonghua Shipbuilding Group in China, the Ever Alot measures 399.9 meters long and 61.5 meters wide. But its capacity edges ahead of its older sibling at 24,004 TEU, making it the first ship in the A-class to officially break through the 24,000 TEU barrier. The Ever Alot uses the latest hydrodynamic optimization technology to achieve higher speeds while burning less fuel. This is a critical advantage in an industry where fuel costs can account for up to 60% of a ship's total operating expenses. Every percentage point of fuel efficiency saved translates to millions of dollars over the lifetime of the vessel. The Ever Alot primarily operates on the Europe to Far East trade routes, connecting major manufacturing hubs in China, South Korea, and Japan with consumer markets in Western Europe. It is a workhorse of global commerce, carrying everything from electronics and clothing to machinery and auto parts in an endless cycle of transcontinental voyages. The ship's optimized hull form allows it to maintain higher average speeds while consuming less fuel per container mile than any previous generation of Evergreen vessels, which is a critical economic advantage on competitive trade lanes where margins are razor thin. Number 5. OOCL Spain. In February 2023, Orient Overseas Container Line launched a ship that shattered its own previous size records. The OOCL Spain was the company's first vessel to surpass the 24,000 TEU mark, and it made a dramatic entrance when it became the first container ship with a capacity over 24,000 TEU to make its maiden voyage from Hong Kong port. Constructed by Nantong Cusco KHEI Ship Engineering, the OOCL Spain measures 399.9 meters in length and 61.3 meters in width. It has a gross tonnage of 235,341 tons and a carrying capacity of 24,188 TEU. The ship sails under the flag of Hong Kong and is deployed on the company's Asia-Europe service. What sets the OOCL Spain apart from many competitors is its intelligence. The American Bureau of Shipping awarded it the prestigious Smart Ship notation due to its use of advanced intelligent technologies on board. These systems aid in improving fuel efficiency, enabling structural health monitoring, and maintaining the highest safety standards across every voyage. The OOCL Spain is part of a fleet of 12 G-class ships, all built with the same specifications and launched across 2023 and 2024. Together, these 12 vessels represent one of the largest single investments in ultra-large container shipping in recent years. The G-class fleet allows OOCL, which is a subsidiary of Cusco Shipping, to compete head-to-head with MSC and Evergreen Marine on the world's most profitable trade corridors. The sheer scale of these vessels means that each one replaces what would previously have required multiple smaller ships, dramatically lowering the cost per container on high-volume routes. Number 4. One Innovation. Delivered on June 2, 2023, the One Innovation is the flagship vessel of Ocean Network Express, commonly known as One. It was built at the Kure shipyard by Japan Marine United Corporation, making it one of the few ultra-large container ships built in Japan rather than China or South Korea. The One Innovation measures 400 meters long, 61.4 meters wide, and 33.2 meters deep. It has a capacity of 24,136 TEU, and when it set a loading record in September 2025, it carried a total of 22,233 TEU of containers from Singapore to Felixstowe in England. That is the most containers ever loaded onto a single ship in a single voyage. The vessel features a unique hull design that maximizes cargo intake while minimizing fuel consumption. It is equipped with an exhaust gas cleaning system, a bow windshield, and various energy-saving devices that significantly reduce its carbon footprint. The One Innovation is also the first ship capable of transporting 25 rows of 40-foot containers across its deck, a new benchmark in container density. The One Innovation is the first of 6 Megamax-class ships commissioned by One. These vessels are 20% larger than anything previously in the One fleet, representing a massive leap forward in the company's capacity and competitive position. All 6 were delivered across 2023 and 2024. Number 3. MSC Tessa. The Mediterranean Shipping Company, better known as MSC, is the largest container shipping line in the world, and the MSC Tessa is one of the jewels in its crown. Delivered in 2023, the MSC Tessa is the flagship of the Tessa class, sometimes also called the Hudong class. Built by CSSC at the Hudong Zhonghua shipyard, the MSC Tessa measures 400 meters long and 61.5 meters wide. It has a gross tonnage of 230,757 tons and a capacity of 24,116 TEU. 8 vessels in the class were delivered in 2023, with additional ships under construction. The Tessa class is based on the design of Ever A-class ships, but MSC made modifications that increased the cargo capacity. These ships transport goods between Europe and East Asia, traversing some of the longest and busiest shipping routes on the planet. MSC's fleet expansion has been staggering in recent years. In 2023 alone, the company received 10 new ships with capacities exceeding 24,000 TEU. This aggressive growth strategy has positioned MSC as the undisputed leader in global container shipping by fleet size. The MSC Tessa and her sister ships feature hybrid scrubber systems for emissions compliance and advanced hull designs optimized for fuel efficiency. Each voyage carries enough goods to supply an entire city for weeks, and these ships make that journey over and over again, month after month, year after year. The crew aboard these vessels is remarkably small for a ship of this size, typically consisting of only about 25 to 30 people. That means each crew member is effectively responsible for managing cargo worth millions of dollars during every single sailing. Number 2, MSC Irina, and now the reigning champion of the container ship world. The MSC Irina holds the title of the world's largest container ship, with a jaw-dropping capacity of 24,346 TEU. Launched in April 2023 from Guangzhou Port in China, it immediately set a new benchmark for the entire maritime industry. The MSC Irina was built by the Jiangsu Yangzijiang Shipbuilding Group in China. It measures 399.9 meters in length and 61.3 meters in width. It sails under the Liberian flag and is the first of 6 ships in its class, known as the Irina class. The MSC Michel Capellini and the MSC Loreto are sister ships with identical specifications and the same record-breaking 24,346 TEU capacity. What makes the MSC Irina extraordinary is not just its raw size, but its engineering sophistication. The ship features large-diameter propellers designed for maximum thrust at low fuel consumption. It has a hybrid scrubber system for emissions compliance and an innovative air bubble system installed along the bottom of the hull. This system generates a continuous layer of microbubbles beneath the ship, which reduces water resistance and friction, directly lowering fuel consumption by several percentage points. The deck arrangement is where the real magic happens. The MSC Irina can stack containers up to 25 layers high, which is what allows it to surpass the capacity of ships that are the same physical length. It is essentially the same size as other 400-meter vessels, but carries more cargo through smarter deck design and engineering optimization. These ultra-large container ships cost between $200 and $300 million to build in 2025. In fact, newer LNG-capable versions from Evergreen Marine's latest orders are priced between $265 and $295 million each. Considering that a single ship like the MSC Irina can carry goods worth billions of dollars in a single voyage, the economics make perfect sense for companies operating on high-volume trade lanes between Asia and Europe. To truly grasp what 24,346 containers means, imagine placing every single one of those containers in a straight line on a highway. The line would stretch for roughly 150 kilometers, or about 93 miles. That is enough containers to stretch from London to Birmingham, every single one of those containers loaded onto a single ship, making a single crossing of an ocean. Number 1, Seawise Giant / Knock Nevis. And finally, we arrive at the most legendary cargo ship in the history of maritime engineering, the Seawise Giant, later known as the Happy Giant. Yara, Viking, Knock Nevis, and finally Mont was the largest self-propelled ship ever built by human hands. It was a ship of superlatives, a ship of drama, and a ship that has never been equaled. Built between 1974 and 1979 by Sumitomo Heavy Industries at the Apama shipyard in Yokosuka, Japan, the Seawise Giant was a ULCC, an ultra-large crude carrier designed to transport massive quantities of crude oil across the world's oceans. Its original deadweight tonnage was already enormous, But when Hong Kong shipping magnate CY Tung purchased the vessel, he had the ship lengthened further through a process called jumboization, essentially bolting on an additional hull section to increase cargo capacity by over 140,000 tons. The final dimensions were absolutely staggering. The Seawise Giant measured 458.45 meters in length, which is 1,504 feet. That made it longer than the Empire State Building is tall. If placed upright, it would have towered over the Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur. Its beam was 68.86 meters, roughly the width of a football field. 4 football fields could be laid end-to-end across its deck. When fully loaded, it sat 24.6 meters deep in the water and displaced 657,019 tons, making it the heaviest self-propelled object ever to move across the surface of the Earth. The ship had 46 cargo tanks and over 31,000 square meters of deck space. Its cargo capacity was approximately 4.1 million barrels of crude oil. To put that into perspective, that is enough oil to fill roughly 1,500 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Despite its monstrous size, the Seawise Giant was operated by a surprisingly small crew of just 40 people. It was powered initially by a Sumitomo-built steam turbine generating 50,000 shaft horsepower, later upgraded with diesel engines producing 110,000 horsepower, driving a 9-meter propeller. Even with all that power, the ship could only reach a top speed of 16.5 knots. It took 5.5 miles to stop from full speed and needed a turning circle of roughly 2 miles. The ship was simply too enormous to navigate the English Channel, the Suez Canal, or the Panama Canal. Instead, it had to travel around the Cape of Good Hope at the southern tip of Africa. Then came the most dramatic chapter in this ship's extraordinary life. In May 1988, during the Iran-Iraq War, the Seawise Giant was moored off Iran's Larak Island, loaded with Iranian crude oil. Iraqi Air Force jets dropped parachute bombs that struck the tanker. Given the flammable nature of its cargo, the ship erupted in flames and sank in shallow water. It was declared a total write-off. The story of the world's largest ship appeared to be over, but it was not. After the war ended, a Norwegian company called Norman International purchased the wreck, had it refloated, and towed it to Keppel Shipyard in Singapore for major repairs. Over 3,700 tons of new steel were replaced throughout the damaged hull. In October 1991, the ship returned to service under the name Happy Giant. It was later purchased by shipping magnate Jørgen Yara for $39 million and renamed Yara Viking, sailing under the Norwegian flag for the next decade. In 2004, the ship was sold again to Singapore-based First Olsen Tankers, renamed Knock Nevis, and converted into a floating storage and offloading unit permanently moored at the Al Shaheen oil field off the coast of Qatar. In this new role, the ship no longer sailed the open seas, but served as a massive floating storage facility for crude oil with a capacity of 4.1 million barrels. Finally, in December 2009, the ship was sold one last time to Indian shipbreakers, renamed Mont for her final journey, and sailed to the Alang shipbreaking yard in Gujarat. Due to the vessel's extreme size, the scrapping process required up to 18,000 laborers and took until the end of 2010 to complete. The Seawise Giant was cut apart piece by piece, and the steel was recycled. Only one piece of this legendary ship was preserved. Its 36-ton anchor was donated to the Hong Kong Maritime Museum, and as of November 2025, it is on public display at the newly opened Anchor Plaza outside the Central Ferry Pier in Hong Kong. No ship of this size has ever been built since, and in all likelihood, none ever will be again. The economics, the environmental regulations, and the practical limitations of operating a vessel this enormous have made the Seawise Giant a truly one-of-a-kind engineering marvel. It was, is, and will remain the largest cargo ship the world has ever known. If this video blew your mind, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Drop a comment below and tell me which ship stunned you the most. Was it the MSC Irina with its 24,346 containers stacked 25 layers high? Or the Seawise Giant, longer than the Empire State Building is tall, sunk by bombs and brought back to life? These ships prove that when it comes to human engineering, the only limit is the ocean itself. The next time you order something online, remember that there is a very good chance it spent weeks crossing an ocean inside one of these floating cities of steel. Ships that carry the weight of the world's economy on their decks, silently, relentlessly, voyage after voyage. And now you know their names. Until next time, stay curious.